Hello guys, today is Monday, March 4th, and let's continue another episode of Pinocchio book reading series. Let's begin. Chapter 17. Pinocchio will not take his medicine. As soon as the three doctors had left the room, the fairy approached Pinocchio, and having touched his forehead, she perceived that he was in a high fever. She therefore dissolved a certain white powder in half a tumbler of water, and offering it to the puppet, she said to him lovingly, "Drink it, in a few days you will be cured. Drink it, drink it, and in a few days you will be cured." Pinocchio looked at the tumbler, made a wry face, and then asked in a plaintive voice, "It is sweet or bitter?" "It is bitter, but it will do you good." "If it is bitter, I will not take it." "Listen to me, drink it." "I don't like anything bitter." "Drink it, and when you have drunk it, I will give you a lump of sugar to take away the taste." "Where is the lump of sugar?" "Here it is," said the fairy, taking a piece from a gold sugar basin. "Give me first the lump of sugar, and then I will drink that better. Give me first the lump of sugar, and then I will drink that better bitter for. Give me first the lump of sugar, and then I will drink that bad bitter water. Do you promise it?" "You promise me?" "Yes." The fairy gave him the sugar, and Pinocchio, having crunched it up and swallowing the fairy gave him the sugar, and Pinocchio, having crunched it up and swallowed it. The fairy gave him the sugar, and Pinocchio, having crunched it up and swallowed it in a second, said, licking his lips, "It would be a fine thing if sugar were medicine. I would take it every day. Now keep your promise, and drink these few drops of water, which will restore you to health." Pinocchio took the, Pinocchio took the tumbler unwillingly. Pinocchio took the tumbler unwillingly in his hand, and put the point in his nose to it. Pinocchio took the tumbler unwillingly in his hand, and put the point of his nose to it. He then approached it to his lips. He then again put his nose to it, and at last said, "It is too bitter, I cannot drink it." "How can you tell that, when you have not even tasted?" "I can imagine it. I know it from the smell. I want, I want first another lump of sugar, and then I will drink it." The fairy then, with all the patience of a good mamma, put another lump of sugar in his mouth, and again presented the tumbler to him. "I cannot drink it so," said the puppet, making 1,000 grimaces. "Why?" "Because the pillow that is down there on my feet bothers me." The fairy removed the pillow. "It is useless. Even so I cannot drink it." "What is the matter now?" "The door of the room, which is half open, the door of the door of the room, which is half open, bothers me." The fairy went and closed the door. "In short," cried Pinocchio, bursting into tears, "I'll not drink that bitter water. No, no, no!" "My boy, you repented." "I don't care." "Your illness, your illness, your illness, illness, your ill, your illness is serious." "I don't care." "The fever in a few hours will carry you into the other world." "I don't care." "Are you not afraid of death?" "I am not in the least afraid. I would rather die than drink that bitter medicine." At that moment, the door of the room flew open, and four rabbits as black as ink entered carrying on their shoulders a little bear. "What do you want with me? What do you want with me?" cried Pinocchio, sitting up in bed in a great fright. "We have come to take you," said the biggest rabbit. "To take me? But I am not yet dead." "No, not yet. But you have only a few minutes to live, as you have refused the "No, not yet. But you have only a few minutes to live, as you have refused the medicines that would have cured you for the fever." "No, not yet. But you have only a few minutes to live, as you have refused the medicine that would have cured you of the fever." Oh, fairy, fairy! The puppets then began to scream. Give me the tumbler at once. Be quick, for pity's sake, for I will not die. No, I will not die. And taking the tumbler in both hands, he emptied and taking the tumbler in both hands, he emptied, 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 and taking the tumbler in both hands, he emptied it in a gulp. And taking the tumbler in both hands, he emptied it at a gulp. We must have patience. We must have patience, said the rabbits. This time we have made our journey in vain. And take the little bear again on their shoulders. They left the room, grumbling and murmuring between their teeth. And take the little bear again on their shoulders. They left the room, grumbling and murmuring between their teeth. In fact, a few minutes afterwards, Pinocchio jumped down from the bed quite well, because wooden puppets have the privilege of being seldom ill and of being cured very quickly. The fairy, seeing him running and rushing about the room, as gay and as lively as a young cock, said to him, "Then my medicine has really done good? Then my medicine, then my medicine has really done you good? Good? I shouldn't think so. It has restored me to life. Then why on earth did you require so much persuasion to take it? Because you see that we boys are all like it. Because you see, because you see that we boys are all like that. We are more afraid of medicine than of the illness. Because you see that we boys are all like that. We are more afraid of the medicine than of the illness. Because you see that we boys are all like that. Because you see that we boys are all like that. We are more we are more afraid of we are more afraid of medicine than the we are more afraid of the medicine. We are more afraid of medicine than of the illness. Disgraceful. Boys ought to know that a good remedy taken boys ought to know boys ought to know that a good remedy taking time may save them from a serious illness. Boys ought to know that a good remedy. Boys ought to know. Boys ought to know that a good remedy taken in time may save them from a serious illness, and perhaps even from death. Oh, but another time I shall not require so much persuasion. Oh, but another time I shall not require so much. Oh, but another time I shall not require so much persuasion. I shall remember those black rabbits with the beer on their shoulders, and then I shall immediately take the tumbler in my hand and go down with it, and down it will go. I shall remember those black rabbits with the beer in their shoulders, and then I shall immediately take the tumbler in my hand, and down it will go. Now, come here to me and tell me how it came about that you fell into the hands of those assassins. You see, the showman, Fire Ear, gave me some gold pieces and said to me, "Go and take them to your father." And instead, I met the road of a fox and a cat, who said to me, "Would you like those pieces of would you like those pieces of gold to become 1,000 or two? Come with us, and we'll take you to the field of miracles." And I said, "Let us go." And they said, "Let us stop at the inn of the Red Crawfish." And after midnight they left. And when I woke, I found that they were no longer there, because they had gone away. Then I began to travel by night, for you cannot imagine how dark it was. And on that account, I met on the road two assassins in charcoal sacks, who said to me, "Out with your money." And I said to them, "I have got none," because I had hidden the 4 gold pieces in my mouth. And one of the assassins tried to put his hand in my mouth, and I bit his hand off and spat it out. But instead of a hand, it was a cat's paw. And the assassins ran after me, and I ran and ran, until at last they caught me and tied me by the neck to a tree in this wood, and said to me, "Tomorrow we shall return here, and then you will be dead with a mouth. Tomorrow we shall return here, and then you will be dead. Tomorrow we sh- tomorrow tomorrow we shall return here, and then you will. Tomorrow we shall return here, and then you will be dead with your mouth open, and you shall be able to carry off the pieces of gold that you have hidden under your tongue. Tomorrow, tomorrow we shall return here, and then you will be dead with your mouth open, with your mouth open. Tomorrow we shall return here, and then you will be Tomorrow we shall return here, and then you will be dead with your mouth open, and we shall be able to carry off the pieces of gold that you have hidden under your tongue. And the four pieces, and the four pieces, where have you put them? Asked the fairy. I have lost them, said Pinocchio, but he was telling a lie, for he had them in this. I have lost them, said Pinocchio, but he was telling a lie, for he had them in his pocket. He had scarcely told the lie when his nose, which was already long, grew at once 2 inches longer. He had scarcely told the lie when his nose he had scarcely told the lie when his nose, which was already long, grew at once 2 inches longer. And where did you lose them? In the wood near here. At the second lie, his nose went on growing. If had if you had lost them in the wood near here, if you have lost them in the wood near here, said the fairy, will you look If you have lost them in the wood near here, said the fairy, we will we will looking we will look for them and we shall find them, because everything that is lost in the wood is always found. Ah, now I remember all about it, replied the puppet, getting quite confused. I didn't lose the four gold pieces. I swallowed them whilst I was drinking your medicine. At this lie, at this lie, his nose grew so. At this lie, his nose grew to such an extraordinary. At this lie, his nose grew to such an extraordinary. At this lie, his nose grew. At this lie, his nose grew to such an extraordinary length that poor Pinocchio could not move in any direction. If he turned to one side, he struck. If he turned to one side, he struck his nose against the bed or the window panes. If he turned to the other, he struck it against the walls or the door. If he raised his head a little, he ran the risk of sticking it to one of the fairy's eyes. And the fairy looked at him and laughed. Why are you laughing? What are you laughing at? What are you la- What are you laughing at? Asked the puppet, very confused and anxious at finding his nose growing so prodigiously. I am laughing at the lie you have told. And how can you possibly know that I have told a lie? Lies, my dear boy, are found out immediately, because it, lies, my dear boy, are found out immediately, because there are two of lies, my dear boy, are found i- lies, my dear boy, are found out immediately, because there are two for because they are of two because they are of two sorts. Lies, my dear boy, are found out immediately, because they are of two sorts. There are lies that there are lies that have short legs, and lies that have long noses. Your lie, as it happens, is one of those that have long noses. Pinocchio, not knowing where to hide himself for shame, Pinocchio, not knowing where to hide himself for shame, tried to run out of the room, but he not. But Pinocchio, not knowing Pinocchio, not knowing where to hide himself for shame, tried to run out of the room. Pinocchio, not knowing where to mama, que caceta! Where? Pinocchio, not knowing where to hide himself for shame, tried to run out of the room, but he did not succeed, for his nose had crazed so much that he could no longer pass through the door. Splash, splash! They fell into the middle of the ditch. That's the end of this chapter. Until next time.